But before all of that, we're going to be talking about junior doctors in England. They start their 4-day walkout today. It's potentially going to be the most disruptive in NHS history. It's also been revealed that GPs are being offered £200 an hour to cover for them. So does this sound like a good solution, Kelly?
Oof. Oh, I mean, firstly, you know, you don't want to have any doctor striking, do you? Because, you know, at the end of the day, we have many patients and life-threatening things. But I was seeing that... so I was looking at the junior doctor pay, and they were saying for a 60-minute procedure, you can get between £28 and just over £14 for a life-threatening op, which seems ridiculous when a GP then is getting £200 an hour.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously there's reasons for training and some are better qualified, but it just seems really ridiculous because also they're saying that with inflation, they're actually at a 26% real-time loss. So I think what people don't see is the whole facts. You know, they're out there for a reason. It's not just about pay, it's about conditions and work conditions, hours. And I do think that's wrong when you then, or they will feel it disjust when they see somebody paying.
I think one of the ads that the British Medical Association put out was that someone who makes coffee, like I think
a barista.
Barista. Yeah, I'm not even sure if they were fully trained barista. I think it might have been junior, actually got slightly more money than a junior doctor.
Yeah, I think the problem is, though, that paying people £200 an hour who are GPs, who are already barely coping with their workloads running surgeries, and already loads and loads of people feel quite dissatisfied with the service their GPs are providing. But now these GPs presumably will be hijacked to help and do some kind of desperate helping out in hospital. My problem with the doctors' pay is that we have to make the NHS a more attractive place to work, and we go on and on and on about our NHS and what a fantastic institution it is. But it can't be that fantastic if people do all this training, you know, a very, very...
That we pay for.
That we pay for, and then opt to go and work in another country or opt not to be...
or go private.
Go privately, exactly. Yeah. So we've got to find a way to make the NHS not just fabulous, but fabulous for the people that work there, as well as fabulous for the patients. And as for supporting the doctors' strike, well, I find it quite hard to support it. Even though I support their case, I completely am on their side. But if it was one of my relatives who'd had their knee replacement operation changed and put back yet again today, I don't think...
But I suppose if they were sitting here, they would say, what's the alternative? Because they're saying it's, you know, they've had 15 years of pay erosion.
Yeah, and they're saying that Steve Barclay has only met them twice in, you know, quite a number of months. I think the government has got to, well, Rishi Sunak's got to bang some heads together and get them back round the table negotiating, because you don't achieve a solution in a pay dispute unless both sides sit round a table.
Yeah, and also I think... I think few people would argue that they deserve a pay rise, but what you don't want is more money being poured into the NHS at the top level. It needs better management, doesn't it? Brenda, where do you stand on it?
Obviously, I support what they're doing, and I just think it's really sad after everything that the NHS staff got us through over the last 2-3 years of the pandemic, and we're still dealing with that, and for that they should be rewarded. There was this big thing with the Prime Minister at the time, Boris Johnson, saying, you know, support the NHS, do this, do this, do that, and when it comes to time to put in your money where your mouth is, they're literally not. They're more interested, it seems to me, in putting their money to support weapons to kill people and to build trains that we don't actually need.
Yeah, Brenda, you've got a good point there, but actually we've never put more money into the National Health Service than we have now. We can't put any more money in. What do you want?
You can't have the national wage at £9 something, the national average wage at £9 something, and then £14 for someone who's actually saving a life.
But they get good training.
Yeah, they get good training, but they were probably training thinking that they were going to be under better circumstances in their place of work.
But when we decided,
the place of work is not suitable.
I agree with you, but the other thing is that we treat the NHS like a business. Each hospital's run like a business. They want to change a light bulb, they've got to outsource it. That has led to the NHS NHS being overcharged for so many services and so many things are provided by outside companies. And at the same the level of bureaucracy in the NHS is
But if
ridiculous.
you're going to outsource and spend your £60 on somebody that doesn't even... that you can just... Anybody can change a light bulb. That's an excuse. And I think that instead of them doing that, then let them renegotiate.
Yeah, well, we need better management for sure.
Better business.
And maybe the politicians could all sit down and sort it out. Talking of which, the Labour Party has released a series of images which have been judged as attacking the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, personally on his stance on prison sentences and on his family's tax affairs. Does that all seem a little bit too personal to you, Janet?
Well, it's this tradition of attacking your opposition. They are called attack ads. And, of course, you see them in America much more than you see them here. Yeah. But the history of them here, well, the really famous one started during the Maggie era when the Saatchis did that billboard, I don't know if anyone remembers it, of the great long dole queue, and it just said Labour isn't working.
But that's attacking a party, not a person.
Yeah, well, then they attacked Tony Blair, and I don't know if anybody remembers Demonise, because that ad was really, really criticised at the time. They just took away his eyes and put New Labour, New Danger. And funnily enough, that absolutely didn't work, and Tony Blair got in with a landslide majority in 1997. Whether this ad now will work, I've got doubts on two levels. First of all, the very principles behind it are a bit dodgy because, as the newspapers point out today, Keir Starmer, leader of the Labour Party, is a distinguished lawyer and prior head of private... DPP. He sat on the Sentencing Council in 2011, and the point of that quango was to decide what were the new guidelines for sentencing serious crimes, and a lot of them were sexual crimes. And he went to 21 out of 23 meetings. The reason I'm telling you this is that Keir Starmer was very involved with creating these laws that he finds so offensive.
He could equally be put on the poster. I mean, I think it's quite personal. And I think part of the problem is that, you know, all these politicians have got SPADs, as they're called, special advisors. They're all quite young. I think they live a lot of their time on Twitter. And they think this is great clickbait, it's going to win an election. And we know, actually, from the Jeremy Corbyn days, when, if you'd looked at Twitter, you would have thought he was going to be Prime Minister. The silent majority don't feel that way. Now, I'm going to come to you, Brenda, because I've persuaded you to vote in the past. Do these posters and all this political infighting persuade you to vote for the next election?
The only thing that it persuades me of is that you can't really trust either side. You don't know who you can trust. And for me, it's like, I'm not interested in the personal story of what he's done with this and what he's done with that, or what he hasn't done with that. I just want, if you promise me something, please deliver on that. Within 6 months would be good, but we're taking 3-4 years to not even deliver on anything. So, you know, it's
so
like...
what you're asking for are, like, report cards.
Well, I think, you know, it would be interesting.
Better.
I hate turning on the television every minute. A party political broadcast by a party... Let's not have any broadcast. Let's just, you know, leave it for, you know, don't sling mud after this one, that one, the other one, and let us just go and have a vote and see where we stand at that moment.
Do you agree with that, Kelly?
Oh, my God, politics.
Is that it?
I just think people are so bored with it. It's just... These people are meant to be running our country.
Yeah.
Like, they're not running it well. It's as simple as that.
But
and
you can't just...
Do we care? Most people don't care. Most people don't. I wouldn't even look at that board and think that's going to make me vote Labour or Conservative. Well, I will vote because women have the right to vote. Yeah. I will vote, absolutely, and I think we all should stand up for that. But I will find a party that I think I have an element of trust in, which I don't have a trust in any of them at the moment. So someone needs to come forward, convincing us with passion that they're here for the people and the country. I don't see it.
I think you two should form a party. Not me and Janet. We're far too cynical.